going on, guys? This is Matt from Studio M7, and I'm back with another video. And I don't know, it feels weird. It's been a while since I last talked to you guys. I think the last time I talked to you guys was the last update video, was it? It was the last update video when I mentioned about me not being able to post, and ever since that video I've posted a few videos, so I guess it's quite evident that I'm back, so I might as well get going. This video is going to be a kind of an update. Just I guess that is the update. I'm back. And then I'm going to be posting a lot more videos now that it's summertime and I've got a lot of time. So well, yeah, I've got enough time, that is. So I wouldn't mind that you guys actually went into the comment section below and left with a few ideas, maybe a few links to some effects that you'd like to learn. And I'll try to do my best to come up with the tutorial for it. And for those of my long kept subscribers that have been with me for a long time, I've discontinued Tutorial Tuesday because a tutorial every week is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like not too much to do, but it's in a way too much and too little. I mean, I don't want the responsibility to just like have to do a tutorial. I just want to, like, if I feel like I should do a tutorial and I really feel passionate about it, then I'll do it. And then I don't know, I just stop that. So now I'm just gonna do tutorials out of the spur of my mind. I may make a schedule, and it'll definitely be more than once a week like Tutorial Tuesday was. And other than that, I guess I should get started for this tutorial. This tutorial is actually going to be a After Effects one. It doesn't matter what After Effects you use. I'm pretty sure it will work on no matter what. So the effect we're going to be doing is actually a quick, clean and simple looking intro, and I recommend it for montages, but it'll work for anything really. You can add your own sound effects and get going. It's very easy to do, and it really is effective. So I'm going to do it for a 5-second composition. So you guys can't see because I'm doing it on my other monitor, but if you want to create a new composition, you just hit the command or control depending on what operating system that you are running. For Mac, like I am, just use command and then N, and then you should get the composition settings like so. And I'm just gonna write cool clean intro. Alright, and that's gonna be my intro. The dimensions are gonna be standard high definition, so 1280 by 720. 30 frames per second is alright, because it really doesn't matter. We're not going to be morphing or messing around with the time frame too much, and you won't be able to tell the difference between 30 or 60 or anything else. So with that all said and done, I'm going to set the duration to 5 seconds, click OK. There we go, we've got a black background now, and the first thing we want to do is just go to the bottom of our timeline, right click open space, and you'll get this new option, and you can click new solid, or you could go up to the top bar and go to I believe it is layer new solid, or hit command or control Y, and then you'll also get this window. So there's a few things. The keyboard shortcut is command or control I, like I said, and you'll get the solid settings. Now you'll want it to be the same size as your composition, so 1280 by 720, and I'm just gonna make the background color a light gray, because that's generally what we're looking for. We'll change it up as we go along, but a light gray looks fine for now. And by as we go along, I guess we're going to change it right now. So we're going to go into our effects and presets module right here. If you don't have that, you can go up to your top bar again on your operating system, and you'll have the Windows option. Click the Windows scroll down menu, and you'll have your effects and presets. And if you are too lazy to go up there, you can also use the keyboard shortcut command or control 5, and you'll get the effects and presets option, and it will show up in the window. I just deleted or took it out because I clicked it, but then it'll show up. So you'll have this little search option right here, and I'm going to type in ramp because that is the effect we're looking for. So generate ramp. You're just going to drag that onto your your layers in the composition timeline. So with that all done, you'll see this nice little gradient, and it looks alright. I mean, it's nothing special to be quite honest. So what you're gonna do is get your start color, and you're gonna click on it. And right now it's black, and that's the default. And you're gonna have the start color settings. I'm gonna choose a very very light gray. So as you can see right there, that's a pretty light gray. The start of the ramp is gonna be there, and we're just gonna change the ramp shape. Instead of linear, we're gonna go to radial, and that's gonna give us a circular ramp. Now we're gonna drag the center of the ramp to the very center of the composition. If you want to be really exact, you can go to this little icon right here and click on the title / action safe. And if we zoom in, we can be OCD about it and center it up. Now the thing about these colors is they're completely flipped, so we're just gonna have to change them up. So I'm gonna click that and make that white. That looks a lot better now. So now we're gonna get the end of the ramp, and what we're gonna do is drag it out, drag this little dot right here to however you like. I'm just gonna drag it out till I feel comfortable of how it looks. I'm just gonna fit the window to the screen, and that generally looks alright. So if you're satisfied with how you have your ramp looking now, you don't want it to be too intense. You don't want the ramp to be too intense. Now you've got this nice background. So what you want to do is I'm gonna get my text tool. So you're gonna click your text tool right here, and you can use whatever font. I'm gonna use the font Impact because it is a default Mac font, and I'm not too sure if they have it on PC, but that is what I'll be using for today. In fact, you know what? I think we could use an Arial. An Arial looks fine. Now the font color is going to be a very, very, very I'm going to get something in the like in the blues. It's going to be like a navyish blue looking kind of thing. It's going to have like it's going to be like a dark gray with a tint of blue. And you won't be able to notice it too much. But it will make a difference. Well, at least to me it will. So now you're just going to type out whatever your channel's name is for the sake of this tutorial. I guess I'll just do Studio M7. So Studio space M7. And we're just going to drag that over here. We're going to increase the size. You know, the little icon right there, you just increase the size here. Right there, you just increase it to however you like. You'll notice that the width of the text is a bit off. So you can, I'm just going to go to 0. No, that looks a bit weird. Okay. So the problem was that the height of my text was a bit weird, so I'm going to expand it to however you feel comfortable, and you can just adjust the font to make it to fit your liking, I guess is the proper Studio M7. There, look, that looks alright. In fact, I think that I'll use a font called Harbor. No, let's use Arial. Sorry, I can't make up my mind. We'll just use Arial, but really it's all up to you on what you'd like to choose. And we're just going to increase the size a bit more. Alright. Maybe even more. That looks alright. You know what? I'm going to make it all caps. Because that's how OCD I am. Alright, that looks good. That looks good. Now let's just decrease it all. There you go. So now, I wouldn't say centering it right now, because I'm going to put a logo or a little icon in the corner here. We're just going to create a new text layer, so we're just going to hit New Text. Just right-clicking on the timeline, and you should get the option to do a new text layer. And this time, we're going to do http:// www.u, and I know the font's really big, or really huge at the moment, but we'll finish that later. youtube.com/studio, and you just do your whole URL and capitalize and lowercase whatever characters you feel are necessary. I'm just Studio M7. That's how I'll do it. Select, double click your text layer, and you should highlight all of them, and I'm just gonna decrease it all to fit. You know what, in fact, I don't even think the HTTP I don't even think that's necessary. We're just gonna highlight all of this. We're gonna expand it to a suitable size. That looks alright. The thing we're gonna do is we're gonna increase the vertical spacing. No, horizontal spacing, excuse me. So you see this little icon right here under vertical spacing. We're going to increase that until it completely spreads across, and this just gives us a general idea of how we're going to have our stuff looking. The placement of all our layers and such, and we can always go back to this later and rearrange it to however we like. But for now, I guess that's a good generalized. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is add an icon or a logo. And since my logo is a complete typography, I'm not going to use it. I'm going to use an icon I don't know, I just kind of decided to use. So, here I found this article on Shepard Fairey, and I'm sorry if you hear the phone ringing. Here, I'm going to stop the video and get right back to it. Sorry about that. So we're back in it. I found this little article here about Shepard Fairey, who is a street artist, and he's very famous for doing these pop art kind of illustrations, one of which is very popular. It's the Obama Hope poster that is very common nowadays, and I've decided to use this little illustration of Andre the Giant, which was very popular a while ago, not too long ago. So I'm just gonna drag it into Photoshop, since I don't think it's a PNG, unfortunately, and I'm just gonna key out. Actually, you know what? I don't need to do that. I'll just color key it. Okay, so we're just gonna drag it straight into After Effects, if that works. No, it doesn't. Okay, so I'm gonna save it to my desktop as Andre the Giant. Save. Then we're gonna open up or import the image from our desktop. And it doesn't have to be the Andre Giant Obey image, but it's definitely something similar to it, like something with that same feel. Okay. Oh, whoops. So we're gonna click on the Andre Giant, and you'll notice with some logos, your logo may have the same thing. I'm just gonna decrease it so it fits the same height as the font. Does that look about right? No, okay. Just move it over a bit. There you go. Okay, so the white background is gonna be it's gonna stay solid with no matter what the gradient is behind it. But I believe if you set it to multiply, the white disappears and blends in with the background, as you can see. So now it's completely transparent except for the black. It's actually like a stencil, like it would be in real life. So now that that's there, we're gonna just adjust the Studio M7 text so it kind of fits all in between there. So we're gonna increase the width, the horizontal spacing, and that's how I want it. So now that we have all of those completely formatted the way we like, and we're completely satisfied with how it looks, we're gonna highlight the layers that we want to group. So pretty much everything that we want to animate. And the animation is going to be a pretty simple animation, so it won't be too difficult to change anything if we are not satisfied with how it looks. So highlight your layers that you would like to animate. I chose these 3 layers. You're going to hit Command, hold on, yeah, Command, just go to the layers, and go to the layers option, the pull down menu, hit Command Shift C, is it? Man, I'm tripping right now. Whoops. Yeah, Command Shift C it was. I was right. And then you'll pre-compose your or Command or Control, it doesn't matter. Command or Control depending on what operating system you're. And you'll pre-compose these layers. Now I'm just gonna call it pre-comp 1, doesn't matter too much. So now we have all these layers, and if you click on the pre-comp 1, you have the whole thing completely grouped together. Now the good thing about this is now we can use it all, like we can all animate it together instead of individually animating all of those layers. So now we're gonna go to the blur and sharpen drop down menu in our effects and presets, and we're gonna look for Gaussian blur. Now what Gaussian blur does is just kind of like spreads it out. So if you increase the blurriness, you'll notice it's pretty spread out, and the resolution is not too great right now, but it just kind of like blurs it out like it should, just a good old blur. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna animate the blur for the first 5 seconds, and then after that we're gonna add a little flare on top, so it'll give it this nice clean looking kind of, I don't know, I like the feel of it. So we're just gonna increase the blur a lot, almost to the point where you can't even tell the shape of it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna keyframe it at the very beginning of the timeline. So you just hit the playhead right here, this little yellow icon, and drag it all the way to the far left, as far as you can go. And you hit the little stopwatch beside the blurriness, and that's gonna keyframe it. Now if you continue in our timeline, I'm gonna say it at about second, 3/4 a second, we're gonna drag the blurriness over a little bit so you can somewhat see what it's starting to resemble. We're gonna leave it as is because it's already been keyframed for us. And then we're gonna go to 1 second, and then we're gonna kind of go blur it out again. And you don't have to follow exactly the timeline that I'm using, but I'm using something like this, and we're just gonna make it a bit more blurry, and then keep going into our timeline right about here, and we're gonna set the blur to 0. So if you kind of scrub through your timeline, you see that it's kind of animating the blurriness. And now we're gonna just keep on doing the same thing that we were doing before, except we're gonna kind of leave it like we're gonna not concentrate it as much. So it's gonna be very, very subtle, the blur. That's the proper word. Alright, and then you just give it a little bit more blur. And at the very end, you're just going to blur it all the way out so you can't see it anymore, and that's going to be the transition. Now if we RAM preview this, you'll just see that it's just adjusting the focus kind of as if the camera is just kind of going in and out of focus. So like you can see here, it's nothing too fancy, and we're kind of getting the idea of how it's looking. So after that, we're just going to go back to the front of our timeline. We're going to add this another effect, add a flare. And we're just going to click generate lens flare. It's nothing too fancy, but it will get the job done. In fact, we're going to create a new layer, so we're going to right click the timeline again, new adjustment layer. There we go. Now we're going to drag on the lens flare under the generated one. What we're going to do is decrease the brightness so it's not too bright, and we're just gonna toy around to whatever flare you prefer. I like the first one, the default one. So we're gonna leave it on top of our Studio M7 little pre-composition, and we're gonna set the blur dimensions to vertical. Yeah, that's all good. Oh wait, we're gonna set the flare type. You know what? We're just gonna copy and paste that and bring it into. Okay, I'm having a rather huge brain fart. And it's original. No, we're gonna leave it like it was. I'm sorry. Okay, so now you should have just the Gaussian blur on your pre-composition, and you should have the lens flare on your adjustment layer. And you're gonna set the flare brightness to 0 at the beginning, and as your composition slowly starts to focus into the text, and you start to see the peak of it, you're gonna set the brightness to something around 64, 65-ish, and that's going to be generally what we're going to use. And then we're going to go back all the way, scrub all the way to the end of our timeline to when it starts to blur out again, and we're going to set another keyframe. So we go to our effects, lens flare, just underneath the adjustment layer, and we're going to click this little diamond shape right here just to set another keyframe. So, and then we're going to go to the very end of the timeline, and we're going to set our flare brightness to 0. So now you see that it animates in, animates out. Okay, so with that all done, we're going to have to animate the flare center. So the flare center is going to be fine the way it is here, and then at the end of it, it should end up on the other side of the pre-composition. So we're going to drag it all the way over there. And that's pretty much it. It's not too hard. If we RAM preview it now, you'll just get this really nice, clean-looking intro. And I'll leave the final product and how it should look at the very end of this video, so you can check it out.